So this is Elisia Liau. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. All right, so the first thing that I would say right off the bat is you really want to work on anatomy. Um, the big thing looking at this is the anatomy of this is really in need of work here. So if you kind of build out the face like so, and so this is the head. The chin would actually be a lot more forward. So this would be the chin here, and then the pelvis or no, the torso rib cage here would be something like this. So that's the first thing that you want to do is correct placement of kind of that face neck area. The other thing is, and then the arms would also come up as well. The other thing is that you don't really have a sense of overlap. And what I mean by that is right now, if I just move this face here and kind of align everything here, you've got, you can go indent and you can put the nose out like you've got, and then the lips, the nose, and that type of thing. But if this is the head, your eagle would actually sit above it. You want to give the head enough space to kind of run the way it is, and so that's something that I would definitely look at is layer your stuff proportionately. Um, and if you're doing a bonnet or whatever, and then the eagle, this cloth here, so proportionate. Same thing with the skull. The skull is very kind of awkward. Get some reference for the anatomy, because the skull's foreground face would really look like uh, something like that. The nose would pop out, and then like so, and then the bottom jaw would come in like this. And the way the jaw is, you actually are missing um, kind of a joint system they have there. So that's what I would tell you to work on that. Someone mentioned light source, which is something that you really want to put in there. Um, so what I would tell you right off the bat, just by doing what you have here, let's grab this, and let's bring this kind of forward like so. So that's the first fix that I would make. And then what I would do is, if you've got a light source of any type, you want to put that light source in there as well. Let's kind of bring this out. Yeah, the anatomy in the skull is really in need of kind of fixing. And then let's just kind of do this, and let's pick a neutral color. And so if you're doing like a light source, say we're doing a light source like this, just going to multiply this layer real quick here. So if you're doing this light source, you want to have, the kind of build up of that character, especially under the jawline, back here, underneath here, and you see how that's just bringing out that general shadow tone. You'd have some shadows under here, kind of so. You'd have shadows under here, and that's going to bring out your form. The other thing you want to pay attention to is your value source. And if you look at the histogram and you kind of do this, most of your value range is really in the lower darker tones, which that means that if you put your darker values in, I'm just going to erase this real quick, and then put a new layer, is probably, let's do screen, and let's pick this, and you do the new layer, and build up the cheeks, and build up the shadow or the highlights here, the highlights here, the beak highlights, and I'm just kind of, and on the arms, all of those aspects where you feel that the light would be best suited. And then on the shadow side, let's just grab here. On the shadow side, you want to darken out and basically put this as a darker background. And you see how that's just, the highlights and stuff are blocking out things. And I'm roughing this in really, really dark here. So I'm just kind of, and then let's add some highlights onto the screen area. And, some highlights here. And these are probably too bright for what we're doing here. But, a little bit more saturation in the shadows. Sorry. Let's erase this here. Is going to really push that aspect. So as you do this, you see my color palette is spreading out a little bit. And then what I would also do is I would probably, let's do an adjustment layer. Let's do hue and saturation, and let's saturate and desaturate, or darkness, and do something like this. Let's just put a gradient map in there, and something like that starts giving you more color and more depth. And you can definitely, go in here and play with some of the tonal values and get some of the colors out, and the arms, so on and so forth, give a little bit more idea in the face. But as you start spreading those out, that's going to give you a much value range, and it's going to create more form. So that's kind of another aspect to go. Now, since you're doing line work, what you might want to do is you might want to look at the style of your original style is very flat and very low contrast, and that's fine. But if you want more form and more depth, you want to put in the high contrast areas, and that's going to kind of give you that aspect. Just a side note, and this is just kind of personal preference. What I would say is, instead of flopping this bird over her head, one, you want to get anatomy for the bird. The skull feels cartoonish, but instead of flopping the bird down like this, bring the bird up. Bring these colors upward, and it just adds much more flair to this aspect. And then if you want those purple colors, adding those purple colors with a little bit of brightness, and a little bit of push and some accents. And if you've got like the yellow gold and you want gold on there, you want those brights to make really pop out the jewelry. You want that to pop out the different aspects of what you're trying to sell. All right, so I hope that helps.